We are?
We're live. We may have a delay. That's all right. It'll take me forever. Hey, good afternoon, folks. Hey, I'm your co-host, a.k.a. the weatherman with none other than the rabbit.
Hey guys, welcome to Real Estate 101. It's Wednesday and it's 1 o'clock and we're ready to roll this show.
Yeah.
But before we get started, I would like to give out a shout out to Middle Tennessee Title. They are a great title company that is here locally in Murfreesboro. They take care of us, one of my sellers.
I think it's one of your builders' preferred title company.
Yeah, and they do a fantastic job. So we want to give a big shout out to Middle Tennessee Title and Miss Tammy over there who helps us out so much. I still don't see myself.
And anybody that has an idea, they're affiliated now with a guy named Tom Haynes, who's one of the go-to guys for title work or title questions or real estate questions. So anytime you can get to be around somebody like that, there's a lot of them in Murfreesboro, but very, very few now that are actually true real estate attorneys, you know. And Tom Haynes is one of them. Larry Talbert's one of them. There's some great ones around, but they're kind of going to the wayside, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great title companies, so there's just not a couple, there's a lot.
Oh, yeah, there's tons of
Yes.
great title companies that we highly would recommend throughout, locally here in Murfreesboro, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. TriStar. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
But we love those local
Tallman.
title. Yes,
Wow.
love those local title companies. There's a lot to be said for those
Solomon
guys.
Park. So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll just keep going.
Yeah, so
So what's our topic today?
well, before we get to our topic, before we get to that,
Before we get there.
I do want to talk about a little diamond, call it a unicorn, call it
yes.
whatever you want to, but it is over in Blackman. It's going to go live on Friday. We're going to be doing an open house this Saturday from 1 to 3. I think Van's going to try to pull us up a couple pictures here. We had professional pictures go out on Monday, so we don't have all those back yet, but let me tell you a little bit about this place. Here we go. So it's all brick. This home is a 3-car garage.
Trace car garage.
Yes. Has 2 bedrooms downstairs, 2 bedrooms upstairs, plus a ginormous bonus room that could potentially be a 5th bedroom if need be.
And why could that be?
Because it has a closet.
There you go. And a window.
And a window. But it's a great home. It's literally walking distance or bike riding distance to all 3 schools, all 3 Blackman schools. Brand new fenced in backyard. There's just so many great things about this home. Beautiful backyard, as you can see.
So what's more valuable, the 5th bedroom or the bonus room?
I don't know.
I can tell you this, if you got a bonus room and about 3 or 4 kids, definitely the bedroom because you ain't going to use your bonus room anyway.
Yeah,
So.
unless you've got big plans for the Super Bowl this Sunday, then that bonus room is way more important.
But with 4 kids, it ain't going to be at home.
That's true. So, guys, if you get a chance this weekend, I'd love for you to drop by Spring Cove, Blackman. The address is 4417 Spring Cove over in Blackman Cove.
They just don't come up. Everybody talks about that Blackman zone. It's, the dispute is Siegel hotter, is Blackman hotter? Hell, all Rutherford County's hot. So, but it's definitely very, very hard to find walking distance to the schools.
Yeah, such a tight-knit little area right there, just very clean, uniform little neighborhood. It definitely is a unicorn, I would say.
Don't miss out.
Don't miss out on it. So today we are going to talk about split closings. And split closings, pros and cons.
Terrible.
Cons, they're terrible.
They're terrible right now. They're not bad in the past. They're terrible right now.
And I think too, if you've got 2 existing homes already, we're not talking new construction here, but existing homes, I think can be better, smoother.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the agent on both sides.
Oh, absolutely.
Making sure that all those documents, but not just documents, that money, everything is in place. The buyer knows what they're doing. The seller knows what they're doing. That makes the process a lot smoother.
Sure. Everybody wants to be loyal to their group, their guys, and you can appreciate that. I think the rule of thumb now, if you got the listing, you control the title company.
Yeah.
I just think that's probably the best move in this market because when people are so hard to get to work anyway, docs don't get swapped in time. And it's not fair to us, and it's not fair to me because I'm the world's worst, to expect people to be able to swap them that fast. But, you know, we're trying to take care of our people, to get them paid, to get the other agents paid, to get the buyers in houses, because people aren't releasing keys right now until the funding's done.
Right, right. And to back up just a little bit, in case we kind of missed this whole part, split closing. So when you buy a home, you have a title company. When the seller sells a home, they have a title company. It's okay for both parties to close at the same title company. It really is smarter to do at the same title company, just for the whole transaction itself to be smooth. So that's what we're talking about. So a split closing would mean you're closing at your title company and the seller is going to close at their title company.
Right. So let's give a crazy scenario. So let's say we got two title companies, a buyer and a seller, just one house. That's it, one house. So let's just say the buyer's closing at 10 a.m. Friday morning and putting 40% down. Let's say they're buying a $600,000 house. They're putting $240,000 down. Let's say the seller don't get off work till 3:30 and they're not closing until 4.
Hey,
on Friday.
Let's even add to it, and let's say the seller, once they get off work at 4 and do their deal, they are leaving and going states away to a house that they are trying to get worked out as well. So they're moving out of state.
They're moving out of state.
Carry on.
So now that the seller is going somewhere else, you got moving trucks, you got movers, you got all these things, and when they sign the dotted line at 4 o'clock, is the check there?
No.
No. Why not?
Hasn't funded.
The docs have not been swapped. So even if you got a great title company, everybody says my title company do whatever, and after 10 o'clock they went all the way to the title company and swapped docs. Until you sign the paperwork, they're not going to release funding for the most part.
Right.
So if they don't release funding, the money's not there. So the wire cuts off at certain times of the day. So if it's after 3 o'clock, chances are, does anybody know if title companies are open on Saturday? They're not. They're like banks for the most part. So now what happens, then you have to wait until Monday. So now people don't want to give up keys.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. So that's why last of the month closings are terrible, Friday closings are terrible, and Monday closings are terrible.
And then to add on top of that, those sellers that had to scoot on out of town, they're calling and saying, hey, the money's not in my account.
Where's the money at?
Where's the money? It hasn't hit my account yet.
I've got to pay these movers, and because even though you can tell them, they think because they close it's there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work, and it's not fair to the title company. It's not fair to the agents, the buyers, the sellers. But unfortunately, we're in a very, very tough market to where most time there's not just one deal, there's multiple deals.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's not just those two houses. It could be the people that's going to purchase this house that these guys sold. It could be there could be a lot involved in not just two homes.
So let's look at some differences in Nashville title companies and Murfreesboro title companies. And we're just using our areas. So in Murfreesboro, it's kind of an unknown thing that the buyer kind of pays the title expense. In Nashville, it's vice versa. So when you get a Nashville agent, you'll see on your paperwork a lot of the times. Now, right now you're not seeing it, but we'll see that it says seller to pay title, because it's kind of customary there to do that. So now that's a couple $1,000s sometimes on certain houses. So then you got to deal with that, you know. And then they just don't want to swap it up, even if they're not asked for anything. They just feel like that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to give clear title, like you're supposed to pay for it, but that's a fee to a buyer. You know, so there's so many different avenues you're going to go down, but at the end of the day, what's the best solution for the buyer and the seller and both agents? And most of the time, it's agreeing to be on the same page, which means sometimes you have to take the high road. If you have a preferred a title company for a builder, there is no high road. You have to use them. If you have somebody like myself and they're like, hey, we're not closing your title company, there's a good chance I'm just closing with theirs, because I want my buyers to be able to move in the house, or I want my sellers to get paid. You know, so, but I'm going to make sure that I put in the contract. What's one of the most important things we can put in the contract is the time that you expect the buyer and seller to close. We never think about that, but when you write up your stipulations, I will close with your title company as long as both buyers and sellers close on a Tuesday before 10 a.m. That will eliminate a lot of problems with funding.
Yeah, and it gives some time throughout the day for things to hit and wires to hit and everything to be swapped and everybody to walk away with money and keys.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about a little existing, let's talk about new construction. And let me back up by saying that little scenario story that we gave you was actually a real story.
Yes.
So it was an actual
We
horror
left out
story.
all the cuss words that come along from
Yeah,
the seller.
and all the stress and the
Yeah.
frustration, and I mean, it was, and the thing of it is, it's such a smooth process all the way up to the
Yeah.
point because the home sold quickly. We had the listing side, the home sold quickly.
Well, we did get bumped a few days because of appraisals because things were behind. So that kind of delayed it. Then the pay delayed it. Then it went into a Monday, which ended up resulting in a Tuesday.
Before
Man.
the sellers actually had their money, and guess what? The buyers were already living in the home.
So
So-
something went so smooth all the way through it,
To crash and burn
and
at
them
the
not
end.
want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Something so simple.
From something so simple, but yet, I mean, it was everything. So
Yeah, I appreciate loyalty. I really do. But this is not the time
to be loyal, you know,
It's very tough to be loyal unless you don't have a choice with new construction. Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't have a choice, but when you're trying to get on the same page from a buyer and seller, you got to look at, because if you got 3 houses in it, you could have 3 title companies, 3 docs to swap, 3
Yeah.
wires. I mean, it's something else.
yeah. So talking about new
Oh,
construction.
yeah.
Um,
I
in-
didn't want to talk about new construction.
I don't either. But in my past, I'm telling any of you guys that are out there looking for new construction, close with the seller, close with his title company. Because, you know, I have a lot of agents that will ask, well, what's the incentive? Because sometimes there is an incentive given if you close with the seller's title company. Well, the best incentive there is this story I've got for you. Imagine this, it's closing day, it's that morning. Buyers have done their final walkthrough.
Oh,
They
they're so
are
excited.
so excited. They are anticipating going to closing, getting those keys because they've got moving trucks and
They
a
done
pod.
wired a bunch of money. They took
And
a
a
bunch of
pod.
money out of the bank.
And a pod. And now keep in mind, they're not closing with us. They're closing in Nashville. And we're closing here in Murfreesboro.
But really keep in mind that the other agent, which we won't say names because it happens all the time to every different builder, they said, hey, it's no big deal.
Yeah, our
We
title
already talked
company's
about
great.
it. We're perfect.
Yeah, we're good.
We're
We're
good.
good. So,
Okay.
so everybody's excited. Buyer goes off to Nashville to try to close. Well, guess what? Something happened on that end, and they couldn't get them in right away. So it ended up, it was about an hour or so later, they get in there, they close. Well, wondering if we've closed yet. Well, the seller, being new construction, he goes in and signs his part when the buyer has closed their part, and he hears that money it's been funded.
Funded. He's got a check waiting.
So the day marches on.
Yeah.
Pod shows up out at the new house,
Mm-hmm.
but
It ain't their house yet.
it's not their house yet.
So both sides sign. It ain't their house.
Right, because the money is not there.
And docs are swapped.
Docs have been swapped, but there's no money.
Mm-hmm.
The pod shows up, wanting to get in the driveway. Well, can't do it.
Nope.
Not new construction. You can't move in early. You can't get in the driveway.
Why? What happens if you move in early?
Well, what if something goes belly up?
You go from a seller to a landlord
Yeah.
that fast. What happens if the money doesn't come through? There was an issue that popped up at the last, and then the money never was wired. Now they've moved into the house. You just don't get them out quickly.
Call the
Right.
law and
You have to go to court sometimes. It's a big ordeal. That's why new construction don't let you move in early for the most part.
To bang stuff up, moving
Oh, yeah.
Right, and a lot of
Gotta
times
fix it,
too,
absolutely.
you know, with sellers, new construction, they don't want you moving things in because there's liability at that point. The home still belongs to the builder.
Yep.
You know, what if a storm comes through and rips the pod all to pieces and all your stuff's in it, and it, you know, what if something, anything can happen. Liability at that point is put on the
Yeah.
seller, and they're just not gonna take that on top of the liability of you buying their home, getting it through closing.
Yeah, because they took it all the way to this point, got the house looking amazing. You know, they're not taking the chance.
They're not
for a
gonna
day or
take
two.
any chances.
Not for a day or two.
So just for the biggest incentive that I can give you is close with the seller. Because at that point, these buyers were so frustrated. They were gonna have to pay more money because
Yeah.
they were gonna have to take the pod back. It was either we gotta drop the pod now or we can't come back until,
yeah, they charge
you
it.
know. So they were going to have to pay more money. I mean, it was literally a nightmare for them. And again, something that went very smooth, very easy. Once they pick out a lot, we pick out the plan, we go do selections.
Yep.
We get all that done.
Everybody's
Those selections.
happy.
I mean, everything's smooth, going great. And it gets up to that last point. So if you are an agent out there, you've got some people looking for new construction, I highly recommend close with the the seller of the
Most
new
builders'
construction.
contracts are going to say that now for the most part.
Yeah.
Even though people still try to do it, but you know, you just got to stand firm. You know.
Yeah. So, you know, it just really, at the end of the day, like I said, all of these transactions I feel like have been very smooth from day one. You know, whether it's getting the home under contract or whatever the deal, smooth all the way up to the end, and then it gets to close time. And just because there's that separation of title companies, and like I said, we went back to both agents have to be both sides working that, making
Yeah.
sure that this guy's doing his thing and this guy's doing his thing, and everybody's getting it to the
Yeah.
table. It's definitely a community effort when it comes to that to
Yes.
make sure it runs smooth. So if you are getting ready to purchase or thinking of selling, whatever, that's always something to keep in mind is where is your buyer going to close?
One of the ways to win multiple offers is always doing what's best for the seller. Close with their title company, use their lender, fill out all the docs, get it sent in early. All that stuff makes winning offers a lot better.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, the people that suffer the most are the buyer and the seller.
The ones got all the money involved in it.
When the situation flops and, you know, things start getting a little off track
Yeah.
there at the end, they're the ones that really suffer. You know, totally hated for the buyers that, you know, they had all this stuff going on and trying to get moving trucks and trying to get in this brand new house and, you know, having the pod being there, having to pay more money. You know, I really hated that for them. But at the end of the day, you know, that's just something as an agent, as their agent. You know, we had the conversation up front talking about it. But, you know, when you talk about that 8 months, you know, 6-8 months before that, and then it gets, oh, we're good. We got a great title company. And I'm sure it is a great title company.
Then that agent's calling 10 times, hey, when they get keys, when they get keys.
Yeah.
So-
When they going to get keys?
So the best thing is this market creates challenges. Try to figure out a way to eliminate a challenge. Then that's one way to eliminate a challenge.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, guys, do we have any questions? We have standing room only in this audience today. I mean, we are a packed house in here. Does anybody?
He don't have. Hey,
I don't know what he said.
well, one thing is most people close on Fridays because they're used to close on Fridays just like they used to close at the end of the month, which is the worst time to close because everybody's thinking that same way. If you start thinking I want to close on Tuesday, the third week or second week of the month, you'll probably never have a lot of trouble as most people do.
Well, I think a lot of times, too, people want to close on Friday because they're moving over the weekend. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to take Friday off and the whole weekend. get
Convenience
moved
costs.
in.
Remember that. Convenience costs.
Yes.
So who picks the closing day?
Whoever has the most leverage.
That would be like what would be the
Well, if
Sellers.
sellers. So if it's new construction, you know, the seller's going to give a date on when he would be able to, you know,
Most builders
Make
will
that
not close
happen.
on Monday or Friday. They will if they have to.
a
but they won't- they
Tuesday
won't
or a
to.
Wednesday is a great day to close.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, so on a Friday, you don't want to close on a Friday because if anything goes wrong,
You don't get
you're
paid a
closing
Monday.
on the weekend and there's nothing you can
And there's
do.
absolutely nothing
The
you can
reason
do.
you don't close on a Monday is because
Same problem.
same problem. It's just flip flop.
It's just later in the day before it ever happens, and everybody can't get there in time. So,
Gotcha. Yeah.
you know, where one don't happen, one may happen late.
Gotcha.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, are your rest days. Wednesday is probably your best day. You know,
Yeah.
hey, the second week, the Wednesday, the second week, or the third week is Wednesday. You won't have a problem.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Hey,
Well, that.
good job.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for joining the show. We will be back here next Wednesday, same time, same place. So be sure you join us. Also, share the stream, make a comment, and like it. Show us some love. And y'all have a good rest of your week.
Have a good day.
See
Oh,
ya.
Joe Rich, happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Forgot that one. Darn.